Okay, one thing I've learned on this document camera is it doesn't zoom once you start the video. So you have to get it to where you want it before you hit record, or I can't. So that's the only disadvantage. Now, if there's a way, I haven't figured it out yet. But one of the things I talked about last week, and I'm not sure if I emphasized it enough, I said the first 2 to 3 weeks we're only dealing with line. I showed you a little bit of shading last week on the scroll, what I call a scroll. So if you wanted to try it, but we weren't going to really spend a whole lot of time on that, because until you get the lines right, I don't really want you to be confused and distracted with all the shading. Now the shading will be what helps it come to life. And as I was going through stuff, I came across this. Well, I need to reduce the size, but see, shading, if it's all one color, is going to read flat. And then as you develop the detailed and the light and dark, then it becomes form. This was taken from Escher, E.C., I think it's E.C. Escher. He does amazing optical illusions in his drawings. And one of the challenges, I was a part of an art critique group, and he was the topic of the month, and so we were supposed to try to do something in his style. And if you've never made a tessellation is interlocking pieces that have no gaps that continue on in pattern and pattern. And cutting, this started with a hexagon, anyway, I actually created the cutout and made it form together. It was not an easy task. So we won't be doing that. But I do want to show you, we're going to get the lines right first, then we're going to learn value and shading later, and then the illusion of creating form. But we're still on the line part. Several of you indicated that you had trouble with this one right here. So I'm going to just trace, green ink, how about that? That was my journal color this morning. Blue, okay, let's go to black. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I have a square that's the same size, and so does everybody have a square drawn?
Yeah.
Somewhere close. Let me just hold this back so it's out of the way. All right. One of the tricks to me, first of all, is we have to observe a bit. We have to pay attention. Isn't that weird? That square looks smaller. Could have sworn I traced it right. Oh well. Might just be an illusion from the angle I'm at. You look for reference points. Where can I start on this and create a reference point that other things are based on? Well, there's all these diagonal lines. So I'm going to look first at one of those. So I see this line right here, which is close to the corner. So I'm going to put a little dot close to the corner, and it goes up here close to this corner. Actually, I'm seeing right now that it forms a triangle, a right angle with a diagonal line. So I'm going to put that in there because I want it at least that wide. Then I'm going to draw a line aiming at the dot I drew previously. So that gives me the beginning of that shape. Then I look at it again and say, okay, what connects to this point? This point right here goes to over here. So if I'm not sure how far, I look at where it is on the side of this edge. Here's halfway. Whoop, right there. So it's just slightly below halfway. So I'm going to find halfway and go slightly below. Then I'm going to angle up. And it's not exactly parallel, but it probably, I should have probably just looked at parallel, or perpendicular. No, parallel's right. My math terms. My math teachers would be mad if I said that wrong. Okay, but when I look at, well, when I'm looking at this, it seems a little skinnier up here than it does down here, but that's not too important because we're dealing with non-objective items and we're just looking to see how they compare with one another. Then there's a line really close to that, so I'm going to put that. There's a line a little further away, and it has stripes, straight line but with dotted lines. There's a larger space that I'm going to put these what I call X's or diamonds, but I'm going to just start at the since I have this right at the corner, I'm going to come here. Anytime I have a reference point, I can use it. So I'm going to create that one and do 1, 2, 3 lines. And you don't have, if it's lines, you don't have to count the lines. I just did on that one. And then I'm going to just look at where things connect. I'm looking here. Where that connected right here comes almost straight down. Right? Do you see that? I call this, you know, those think lines again. If I'm going to come there, I'm going to pull that down. There's another line over from that that comes at the same angle, so I'm just going to move over a little bit and do that, and then do that. I'm not going to worry if it's not exact. It's not that big a deal. It's just getting the feel of it. And then there's a straight line that comes up from that one. I'm going to crisscross these lines. And then some of them have dots inside. Some of them have angled lines inside. Dots, dots, dots. Straight up and down line. And you see I don't have it exact because I didn't quite make these small enough to fit, but it still gives the look of what's there. If I was doing a portrait, I would have to be a lot more exact because this isn't representing someone or a specific species of plant. So when you don't have to be, that's one of the things that I want you to understand, that it doesn't have to be exact. That's what a camera's for. So that if you get the feel of, if you're communicating what you want to with what you're drawing, then you're successful. Okay, so now I'm just going to come back over here. This is solid, so I'm going to just color that in. I'm going to look and see how high up this piece is. This is a 90-degree angle right here. That's a, sorry, my pen slipped. That's a 90-degree angle. And remember last week when we introduced the elements of shape, angles are 1. Okay, so now I can come over here. See, I'm avoiding some of that middle part. I'm going to just do a line parallel to the last one. And it's full of circles on the other side of it. So I'm going to just draw those circles in and then frame that in with another line. Now if I was using a marker, it'd be a little easier, you know, I'd have a little thicker line, but I just happened to grab my pen. And then there's some diagonal lines right after that. How are y'all doing? Let me let you catch up. Or do you want me to finish it and then you do it?
You lost me on the X's.
Up at the top.
I just quit on the X's, Gail.
Okay. Well, the X, what I looked at were I'm looking here to see. Okay, but the space between here and here has diagonal lines.
Yeah, Yeah, and see, and I did that first line wrong.
But, you know, this isn't something I want you to agonize
No,
over.
no. It's just, I just didn't see where
Okay.
it went. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But-
Now I do.
Okay. Well, but this is when, oh, shoot, I should have done that different. You just mark it out and start over.
Yeah. And that's what I'll do.
But what I'm doing with these exercises, I'm trying to make you draw what you see, and I'm trying to make you slow down enough. That's why some of you are using pen to where you can't erase. So if I can't erase, I'm going to pay closer attention to what I see. And the more you train your brain to look at shapes, break them down into those basic circle, dot, angle, curved line, straight line, it's going to be less intimidating when you get to draw something more detailed. Does that make sense? Okay, another reason why we start with line is, line is one-dimensional. When you create a shape out of it, it becomes two-dimensional. And we're working in black and white because when you add color, that adds a whole nother dimension to it. And when you first start drawing, I'll want you to really draw from black and white rather than colored photos because they're already in values. So one thing I want you to do in the next couple of weeks is look for something you want to draw, preferably not a portrait. You can try that if you want to, if you're so inspired, but I'm not going to do a portrait class right now, but my kids drew portraits, but we were all doing that at the same time, so we might save that for another day. But a black and white picture of something that you want to draw. You will be collecting those. Okay, so just examples. In the next sleeve, not today's sleeve, but another sleeve. See how these are already black and white? You already have these to choose from. Okay, but if there's something else that you have a photograph of that you would like to try to draw, then have it printed on your printer in black and white. If you don't, then you'll be stuck with these or some photos that I have, but I don't have them all in black and white. So I want you to be thinking of that because when we do the grid, we're going to be working from black and white photos. So that's in the future. Okay, so let me just finish off this real quick, and then I'll let y'all finish yours, or we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Okay, I'm going to look at this dot right here. It is not quite in the center. Here's the center from here to here, so I'm going to assume it's close to right there. And then I'm going to do the two lines that connect it. There's a curve here. This curve continues over here. It's a double line. Then there's a straight line here. Straight line here. Kind of divide that up. That has angles. This has angles. There's a straight line here. Straight line here. Rectangle, or you could call it a fat line, fat straight line. And then that's full of dots. When I compare this to this, this is a little skinny, but again, I'm not doing anything that has to be exact because if it's not a portrait or something like that, then you have a little more freedom. Now, paying attention to things like this angle lines go this way. And then when I look at this angle lines go this way. So, again, I'm training you to pay attention, to observe, to try to draw what you see, and then, when I put that straight line in here, then I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and just finish this off. Circles, straight lines at an angle, straight line to the center. And then when I look at this weird stuff, I'm going, there's a curve with half of an ellipse. There's a space, there's a curve with half an ellipse. And there's a curve, half an ellipse. There's a triangle, an angle, an angle, an angle. And I think that's supposed to be part of one. There's a dot inside each of the angles. You see what I'm doing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and you're going, oh my gosh, drive me nuts. But again, you might not like detail. You might want to be loose and free with your drawing. But if you can learn to see details like this, you can draw very detailed pictures. That when you come to finite variations, you'll be able to do it because you practice seeing. Okay? Alright. So, I had a little... Has anybody drawn their hand in their sketchbook? Okay? I didn't ask you, I hadn't asked you ahead of time to do that. But we're gonna be doing that today. So I'm gonna give you, a couple of minutes.
Pencil or?
Pencil's fine. Yeah, let's go to pencil. Good question. Good question. Yeah. So I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to draw your hand. And then we're going to do some exercises, and then you're going to draw your hand again.
Put our hand on the page and outline.
However you want to draw it. And I'm going to pause this for a minute and just remind me to...
Can we trace it?
Honestly, however you want to do it.